Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, bro?
Why are you smirking?
Hat backwards, looking good.
Oh, it's good to be in Cali.
Yeah.
Yeah, coronavirus, man. My hair's just out of control. Sideburns are sticking out. Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
We'll talk about my coronavirus issue on the next podcast. But this one, Tim, you had something interesting based on a guy that you spoke to. Why don't you bring that one to the table? I thought that was a good conversation topic.
Yeah. So I was actually listening to one of the calls that one of the enrollment team had with the guy that's coming into the program. And man, what he shared on there, it resonated deeply for me. And also, considering the hundreds of men I've spoken to over the past few years, probably thousands by now, it's a theme. It's a common theme. I've heard many other men say it, and he was describing this struggle that he had between having to choose between his, or at least how he felt, had to choose between his business and his wife, right? And he was torn because him and his family wanted to move into a bigger home. They wanted to provide a lifestyle for his wife and for his kids where his kids could grow up in nature and not have to worry about playing out on the street and be able to just run out of the back garden into the hills. And he could go camping with them, just walking out the back of the door and have this gorgeous open house that his wife would really love and adore. And, do you know what, Tim? All of that takes money. So I've built the business to be in a position where we can now afford this. And we're about to move into it. And my wife says that she doesn't want to move into it because she doesn't want to be with me. She's out. She's gone. She's checked out. And he said, I found it really difficult because, I saw the signs coming, but then she also was talking to me, or rather, should I say, we'd agreed that this is what we were going to do. Here's the vision. We're going to move into this house. Okay, well, as a guy, I'm going to achieve that, right? I'm going to go there. I'm going to achieve it. So he thought he was doing the right thing. And he thought some of his complaints from his wife about how he wasn't there, or how he used a great word. He said, Tim, I use my wife as my emotional punching bag. I'd come home from work with all the stress of the day and I'd take it out on her. And her cup would be full, and then I'd walk through the door, and by the time I'd been at home for an hour or two, she was drained. I drained her out with my negativity and with my frustration at the day. So as this went on for years, in order to get the house, the journey to the house didn't even make the house worth having. So by the point we were in a position to have it, she'd gone. She'd checked out. And he said, do you know what? By this point, Tim, I'm ready to give up the business just for my wife. Or I also feel like giving up my wife for the business, because I spent the past 10 years building this thing, and it's now in a position to serve me in my life. I want to enjoy it, right? I want to enjoy the riches,
Sure.
which I get. Yeah, I get it. I want to enjoy the riches. And now his wife's saying he's checked out. She's checked out. They've tried marriage counseling and therapy. Didn't work for them. So he kind of thinks, oh, well, I've tried, although obviously he's coming into our program, but I've tried. So this is where he's feeling torn. So, I'm curious to hear your take on this, and I'm sure that'll open up a segue into other avenues with this too.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. So one is, I think, for most business owners and most alpha men, right, once the vision is laid out, we put our head down, we get to work, and we go after it. And just what you were saying. And oftentimes what happens in my experience is we forget to check in with everybody about the vision, right? So maybe it's you and your partner, and you're talking about something, and you say you're going to go on vacation to Switzerland, whatever. And you're going to work hard, and you both agree that you're going to save money for this trip. And you're not going to spend on clothes or whatever it may be. Well, 6 months from then or a month from then, you may find your partner spending money on clothes. And a lot of times it's because you haven't relayed the foundation again, because she might be thinking, oh, we're still doing that.
Is it
Didn't know we're
lingerie
still on
or
that
is it
path. What?
clothes? Is it lingerie or is it clothes?
Lingerie is clothes, considered it, but hey, either way. And so that happens. And we also have the issue with the head and the heart. The head wants the house, with the kids. The heart wants intimacy and connection. So those are things that commonly happen with married couples or just intense partnerships that are going on. It sounds like it might be happening for this guy. He showed up for his business, but wasn't showing up for his wife, and she wasn't getting what she needed
Mm,
in the relationship. And a lot of us guys, what we do is when the relationship isn't working out as business owners, is then we turn to our business to get that connection, or we turn to our business to get the significance that we want, right? From our business doesn't tell us we're wrong. Our business doesn't tell us we're bad. People give us accolades for being in business. So we can get a lot of our value and our self worth and our identity from the business itself, where, especially when it's missing from the relationship.
mm. Imagine if there was an accolade for best husband. I wonder how that might change things in marriages.
uh, I think it would be, yeah, very competitive, right? But
Yeah.
hey, women talk, and they know the difference between a good husband and not. But you guys listening to this, if you're a great husband or if you're not a great husband, and if you don't know, and either way, you should ask. Rate me
Which
on a
kind of
scale of 1 to 10. But for this
mm,
guy, Tim, I've certainly been in that place in my life and my relationship with my wife where maybe we get in an argument or something like that in the past, and I'll turn to the business, right? Might as well just go work. When I
mm,
work, I can see fruits of my labor. When I work, I know what to do to be successful. When I work, I'm going to win, right? Because I'm a winner when it comes to business. When I work, that's my identity. With my
mm,
wife, there's no formula per se, right? I
yeah.
can't just put in extra time. And, especially in my early days before learning a lot about relationships, what I would do is try different things. And I didn't realize that it's the feminine nature to test,
Mm,
right? So, oh, she has a problem with me. She wants more help around the house, she says. Okay. Then I'll clean the house, and then she'll give me a shit test about something else, right? Hey, why aren't you more present? I'm like, what? I just cleaned the whole house. This is ridiculous. And I'd fly off the handle and then say, forget about it. I'll just turn to my business and work where I know I can win. I'll just go kill it there and just don't even worry about all this stuff at home. And that
just
creates more and more distance.
yeah. Explain what you mean by shit test to the guys listening.
Okay, so shit test is a common term used in the dating scene or relationship scene, but basically they're testing to see if you're solid, right? So I'll use an example again. So you may come home and from a day and killed it. Maybe you landed $100,000 contract, and right, and that's maybe you've never done it before. And you come in through the door and you say, I just landed $100,000 deal, and you're excited, and you're expecting your spouse to just jump up and down, run, jump in your arms, or even give you a blow, whatever it is, right? You're expecting some kind of amazingness. And she goes, that's great. But did you take out the trash?
Hmm.
She's testing your resolve, right? She's testing to see if you'll crumble at her words and her thoughts. Are you really strong as a man? Right? Are you really secure with yourself? And that's what we see with a lot of guys that come out of the alpha reset, right? When they come out of the alpha reset, after they've done that, they become so stable. They're like an oak tree. And so when the woman
Mm,
tests them in that same situation, the guy walks in, $100,000 deal. The woman tests him. Oh, didn't you take out the trash? He goes, forget the trash. We just did $100,000. We can pay someone to take out the trash. Honey, I'm taking you out. Go get dressed. That's a totally different experience, right? He's taking command, he's taking charge because he's in control. And so her shit test or her test of him didn't work. So now she knows her man is unflappable, which means she is safe.
mm-hmm.
If you're flappable, if you can crumble, she's not safe, right? How can you protect her if you can't protect yourself and manage your own energy?
Mm.
So that's
So,
what we're talking about there.
mm-hmm. And I wonder if this guy who we're talking about with the marriage in the house, I wonder if he's doing what a lot of guys do. And I think a lot of guys, they believe that, well, when I get the house, that's going to be the answer. And then we'll be more intimate. And then the relationship, man, she's going to love me even more than now. And it's easy to paint a picture, right, of what life is going to look like in the house. And my bet is that the picture that people are painting, or this guy's painting, is one that is very different to today in a positive way. Hence, it's motivating him to achieve it, right? And my bet is that part of that vision is the way that his relationship will look with his wife in the house. Like the house is the thing that helps the relationship have fewer arguments, have more intimacy, have this wild sex because it's such a big house and the kids can't hear them, and whatever it is that goes with it. And so believing that obviously the house is going to be the answer, it's very easy to then get into the trap of just tunnel vision. Right, I'm going to focus on the house. Nothing else matters. Boof, straight to the house. A year or two later, believing that it's going to be the answer, then only to leave a trail of destruction behind you, because really it has nothing to do with the house at all. That level of intimacy or that vision, whatever it is, can be created with his wife today. But it's easier to distract from that and put hope on this vision of the house doing the work without him realizing the true power that he has in changing the relationship. If he chose to turn his attention inwards instead of outwards, live, inside out living,
Bingo.
right? Turn his attention inwards, and from there, things would change.
Ah, you said it elegantly, right? Um, a lot of times what this guy probably is doing, and I don't know this guy, and if you're listening, I understand your situation, of course, but it's natural to look outside of ourselves for happiness. It's just human nature. It's where billions of dollars of marketing are spent. You buy this car, you get this house, you get the dog, whatever it is, that's going to make you happy. And it's just not true. We know it intrinsically that it's not going to be true, but we still strive for it. And sometimes we forget it. You need to take care of the inside first before working on the outside. Now, sometimes you can do them in tandem, of course, but that's where it really, it's going to be key. And if his spouse is 1 foot out the door, or maybe a foot and a half out the door, which it sounds like she is, his best bet, should he want to salvage that relationship, is to work on himself, right? Is to
Mm.
be 100% selfish and work on himself. And that would be the way, in my experience, working with hundreds and hundreds of guys, that you could salvage that relationship. And the worst case scenario, Tim, that we see this all the time, maybe she does leave and you're a better man. I always looked at this like, oh, my stock just went up. So the next woman I'm going to be with is going to be even better. So you really want to look at that and working on yourself internally. And we talked about this, you not getting a haircut earlier, because we are on lockdown with COVID-19 going around, the coronavirus. But the truth is, this is a great time to double down on yourself and your own development, because nobody can take that away from you, right? Nobody can take it away. You could go bald, Tim, but you could still have your inner game and what you're doing, and it wouldn't matter as much.
Well, the thing is, Greek mythology says that virility is kept in the hair, right? So here we are. I'm very virile, clearly. I couldn't pull it off, so I don't want to go
You
bald.
got to realize most people are listening to us.
Yeah, but
But
there's some people that are on camera on watching the video too, and those
getting
people
it
that are
back
listening.
onto track for this guy, because a lot of guys are going to be in this situation, right? Is I feel like I have to choose between my business and my wife. And there's an and in here rather than an or, right, guys? You can choose your wife and your business, but it starts with you choosing yourself. That's the secret to the
Mm,
formula, is choosing you first and working on your game. So when you show up at home, you can show up fully for your spouse, rather than her just getting the crap of you, right?
mm,
Rather than her just you getting the spent version of yourself, because you've spent everything at work, you're stressed out, you get home and you got nothing left to give, right? That's where
yeah.
most of us guys end up, right? I've certainly been there, right? And then you get home, I'm so tired. I'm gonna have a cocktail, a drink. Just want to sit on the couch tonight. I know I said I was gonna take you to dinner. I know I said we were gonna do these things, but tonight we're just gonna watch a movie. Let's watch that. What is it? Tiger King, which is out right now. Whatever it may be. many of us have been through that cycle as business owners. It can be stressful, and multiple business owners or big companies, it gets more stressful. And so we look at this is, how are you managing your stress? Are you doing your alpha rise and shine routine? Is there a midday check-in for you, like the guys in the Brotherhood are doing? What's your evening routine? Are you checking out of work, right? So you can be with your wife. Is she sharing the dream and vision with you? And are you repeating it with her included many, many, many times to ensure you're on the same page, right? Are you checking in with your relationship to make sure your relationship's on the same page? These are all
Mm,
things that you could do as a man to get your business and your wife, rather than the
mm.
or situation.
Yeah, managing your energy and not your time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Tim, what would you wrap up in saying? What advice would you give this man? Obviously, he's looking and going to the activation method. He was on a call. He's going to
Mhm.
move forward. But imagine one of the guys that hasn't stepped up and gotten the phone. What would you say to them?
I think you have summarized it really great. The way that I like to consider this, and you touched on this with the oak tree. I mean, if you look at the forest, right, there's always a tree that stands above all of the rest, right? In order for that tree to go tall, what has it got to do first? It's got to go deep. And it's got to go deep so it can withstand the storms that other trees won't get exposed to. And so that it can provide and nourish the forest floor beneath it in a way that many other trees just can't, right? And that only comes through depth, through cultivating deep roots, which you touched on. And it's within that depth within yourself that you can generate the roots, which then make you be able to withstand the storm of business and come home on an evening and instead of being drained, actually walk through the door energized so that you can have your business and your wife. You mentioned the Alpha Rise and Shine routine and midday check-ins. Certain routines are key in order to help you manage your energy and not your time. Because as long as you choose to manage your time and manage your to-do list and check things off, which is never going to end, by the way, you just choose to check things off, then you're going to continue to play the game of cat and mouse. You're never going to get ahead. Instead, it'll actually be like a game of snakes and ladders, right? You'll be going up, you'll hit a ladder. Oh, I've had a big win. Then out of nowhere, a snake will come and you'll fall back down. And you'll be like, huh, how did that happen? So there's a very different game you can play here. And it starts with, like Doug was saying there, developing that depth, becoming unflappable, managing your energy and your time. And with it, being able to have your business and your wife.
There it is, guys. So, gentlemen, if you find yourself in this situation, it's time to take action, right? Get yourself out of the or scenario and put yourself in the and scenario. Of course, if you'd like more information on how to do that, go over to thealphareset.com. That's thealphareset.com, where you can get more trainings from Tim, as well as get on the phone with one of the qualified coaches just to have a conversation to see if it's the right fit for you. With that, Tim, we're going to wrap up this episode of The Powerful Man Show. Gentlemen, we'll see you next time.